Joining us for a little bit, a special visit this morning. Congressman Mike Johnson is here. Hey, Mr. Mike, how are you today?
Hey, guys. Good to hear your voices. We're doing well.
A little upheaval about to occur in the House of Representatives. Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, says, "I'm out of here. See ya. Gotta go." What do you think about all that? What do you think the reasons are that Ryan is bailing out right now? And honestly, do you think it's Trump related?
To be honest, I think that's part of it. Paul Ryan acceded to the Speaker's chair reluctantly, as everybody may remember. He really didn't want the job. He was drafted as kind of a consensus candidate to take the spot at a volatile time a couple of years back. And, he told everybody then that it was not his life's goal. His dream job was serving as chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. That he's kind of a tax policy wonk guy, and that's the job he always wanted. And when he got it, he wasn't able to keep the gavel long because they asked him to become the speaker. So, he served in a look. Let's be frank about it. It's a volatile time. Politics are polarized. Washington and the swamp is thick and difficult, and it's tricky waters to navigate in the speaker's chair. It takes a lot out of a man. I watched it take a lot out of Paul. He's a good guy. He really is. I'm happy for him. He'll have more time with the family. He said that was his reason, and I believe it's true because I know who he is.
We're hearing Steve Scalise has kind of backed off, and he's going to let Kevin McCarthy, the majority leader, take the job. Is that what you're hearing too?
Well, look, here's the inside baseball. I mean, y'all know Steve and I go back a quarter century. I mean, I've known him since our days at LSU. He was a few years ahead of me. He's a great guy and been a trusted friend and brother to me over all those years. And everyone else in the conference feels the same about him. Across the Republican conference in the House, Steve is one of those guys that's just universally respected. He's just the real deal. And I believe that he would have the vote of the vast majority of the conference if he were to run for speaker. But he's a gentleman, and one of the reasons everybody loves him so much is because he's a man of his word. And he and Kevin McCarthy, who's currently the number 2 guy, our majority leader, have also been close friends for a long time. They go back to the college Republican days. Kevin's from California, Steve from Louisiana. They met at a college Republicans convention, and they've been fast friends ever since. So I don't think Steve would take on his close friend like that and challenge him as a rival for the speakership if Kevin McCarthy can garner the support of everyone. And that's what's going on right now. That's the inside baseball. They are quietly and formally polling all the Republicans in the House to find out who would have that confidence in that vote. And
is he conservative enough for you, Mike?
That was going to be my question. As gentlemanly as he may be, Paul Ryan, to a lot of people, was not considered conservative enough. Bluntly speaking, to a lot of members of the House of Representatives, is Kevin McCarthy conservative enough?
I know Kevin very well. I do believe he's a conservative at heart. He's from California, so it may be defined a little differently than the way we do. But look, for the core principles of conservatism, the Republican Party, limited government, individual liberty, pro-life, you go down to the Second Amendment rights. You go down the list. I mean, he's there. What we're going to try to challenge him. I mean, the true conservatives in the House, whomever the next speaker is, and clearly Steve is a true conservative at heart. We're going to try to help steer that agenda. I mean, from the bottom up, not the top down. And we had a meeting last night, more inside baseball. I maybe shouldn't be saying this on the air, but I don't know. I just always feel like I tell you guys everything. But we had a dinner night before last, conservatives in the House. We're going to try to craft a statement of principles to hold whomever the new leader is, to hold them to that.
Attaboy. Mike.
If Representative Scalise, if Congressman Scalise chooses in the end, as it appears now he's going to do, to not pursue the speakership, could there be another more conservative than McCarthy guy? And do you think if that's the case, does McCarthy have or not have the votes?
No one knows the answer to that right now. McCarthy is in some serious negotiation with House conservatives, Freedom Caucus Chairman Mark Meadows and others. He'll have to make some concessions, I think, to get their vow of support. The latest buzz is that there might be some other conservative challenger. I don't know. There's just a lot of conjecture right now. At the end of the day, I think it comes down to probably either McCarthy or Scalise. And look, if Steve is not the next speaker, he will almost certainly he'll ascend to the number 2 spot as a majority leader. And let's pray we hold a majority in the fall.
He chooses, pardon me, Mike, if Congressman Scalise chooses not to pursue the speakership, is it your sense that he would back McCarthy from California? And if that's the case, would his endorsement get a lot of conservative-leaning congressmen to go with McCarthy?
I think it would help, yeah. And I think that's exactly what Steve would do. If he doesn't run, I think he'll throw his weight behind Kevin, and that probably gets Kevin over McCarthy over the line. But, the thing is, at the end of the day, from a Louisiana perspective, look, all of this is great news for us. I mean, whether Steve Scalise becomes the speaker or the majority leader, they're both obviously very powerful positions, and it's be the first time in a long many years that Louisiana has had that kind of clout in the House. If he's the speaker, he'll be the first in the history of our state, and that's just a remarkable, a historic moment for us, and a great time to be a Louisianian.
I'm seeing some talk about possibly moving Paul Ryan out now before the election. How much of that are you hearing?
Look, I'm in that camp. With due respect, because Paul's a friend, and I talked to him, yesterday before I left the House chamber, and gave him a hug and told him I was proud of him. We all are. He's given a lot to the country, and he ought to be commended for that. At the same time, we really need stability going into the fall election. This is a critical time. We've got a 23-seat majority right now that some would say is in jeopardy because of swing districts around the country. So I think there's something to be said for having that decision made now as opposed to January. Let's get it done before the November election and show that we know who's at the helm. We're all united and we're moving forward with confidence. I think that could be an important thing for us.